Hello there and welcome to the Sleepy Orbit channel. Tonight we'll be drifting far beneath the waves into a world where sunlight fades and mysteries deepen. Down here the water cools, the colors soften, and life takes on shapes beyond imagination. Beneath the ocean's glittering skin lies an alien realm that covers most of our planet, yet we've explored only a tiny part of it. Mountains taller than Everest rise unseen in the dark. Coral forests sway like living cathedrals. Whales speak across entire oceans in songs older than language. And in the deepest trenches where no light has ever touched, life glows softly. If you enjoy these quiet journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. For now, just breathe. Let your eyes grow heavy, and let the deep sea cradle your thoughts. Let's begin. Some jellyfish are essentially immortal. In the quiet depths of the sea, where time seems to stretch and fold upon itself, lives a creature that has found a way to almost stop aging. The tiny jellyfish Turritopsis dohrnii begins life as a drifting speck, grows into an adult, and when faced with stress, injury, or old age, performs a miracle of reversal. Its cells transform, turning back the clock to an earlier stage of life. It becomes young again, ready to start the cycle anew. Scientists call it biological immortality. No other creature on Earth has perfected this trick so completely. Though many jellyfish are fragile, living only for months, this one carries the secret of endless renewal in its translucent body. A rhythm of death and rebirth that echoes the tides themselves. It does not conquer time, but dances with it, endlessly, softly, forever returning to the beginning. The process, known as transdifferentiation, allows its specialized cells, like those in the bell or tentacles, to revert to a stem cell-like state and then rebuild entirely new structures. In laboratory settings, this cycle has repeated dozens of times without apparent degradation. The jellyfish doesn't just survive, it renews itself from within, like a story told and retold, each version clearer than the last. Giant squids have eyes the size of dinner plates. Far below the waves, where darkness reigns eternal, the giant squid drifts in silence. Its eyes, each as large as a dinner plate, stare into the blackness with extraordinary sensitivity. These are the largest eyes known in the animal kingdom, windows the size of human heads, tuned to catch the faintest traces of light. Scientists believe they evolved to detect the glow of enormous predators, like sperm whales moving through the abyss. Even the brief shimmer of bioluminescence stirred by motion can reach them. In that endless twilight, sight is life, and these immense eyes grant vision where almost none should exist. For centuries, the giant squid was only a sailor's legend, glimpsed in stories of monstrous tentacles and shipwrecked horrors. But the truth is even stranger. A vast, intelligent creature of the deep, perfectly adapted to a world without sun, seeing with eyes made for darkness. The eyes are so large that they occupy nearly the entire head cavity, with retinas packed with light-sensitive cells far denser than those of any land animal. This allows the squid to detect the silhouette of a sperm whale hundreds of meters away, just enough warning to jet away in a cloud of ink. In the perpetual night of the deep sea, The giant squid doesn't just see, it perceives the shape of danger before it arrives. Octopuses can taste with their arms. Every arm of an octopus is a mind of its own. Each one is lined with hundreds of suction cups, and within those tiny circular mouths lie clusters of sensory cells that can taste the world around them. When an octopus glides over coral or reaches into a crevice, it isn't just feeling, it's sampling the chemistry of its surroundings. It knows instantly if what it touches is stone, shell, or living prey. Its body becomes a map of sensation. What's more, its arms can act independently, exploring and reacting even without direct orders from the brain. It is as though the octopus is made of 8 curious explorers, all working in elegant coordination. This strange distribution of intelligence, mind flowing through muscle, gives the octopus a kind of alien grace. It doesn't think like we do. It feels, it tastes, it decides, all at once, all over. The suckers contain chemoreceptors so sensitive they can distinguish between different species of crab or detect the faint residue of a fish that passed hours earlier. This isn't passive touch, it's active interrogation. The octopus doesn't just live in its environment, it converses with it, one taste at a time. A mantis shrimp's punch is as fast as a bullet. Hidden in coral burrows lurks a tiny predator with a thunderous secret. The mantis shrimp, bright as a living jewel, wields claws that strike with blistering speed. When it attacks, it's Ims move so fast they create a pocket of superheated vapor in the water. The collapse of that bubble generates a shock wave strong enough to shatter shells, glass, or the exoskeletons of crabs. Scientists have measured these strikes at speeds nearing that of a handgun bullet, delivered by a creature only a few inches long. The impact even produces a brief flash of light, a tiny underwater explosion known as cavitation luminescence. The mantis shrimp's eyes, meanwhile, are among the most advanced in nature, capable of seeing ultraviolet and polarized light beyond human comprehension. It lives in a rainbow world we cannot perceive, armed with the speed of thunder and the vision of a god, a spark of cosmic power in miniature. Sea cucumbers can eject their organs as a defense. On the seafloor, the humble sea cucumber seems peaceful, slow, and unassuming. Yet when threatened, it performs one of the strangest defenses in the animal kingdom. It ejects part of its own insides. Through a sudden muscular contraction, it expels its internal organs into the water, a sticky, tangled mess that confuses and entangles predators. Some even release toxic filaments that can paralyze small fish. To human eyes, it seems like an act of self-destruction, but for the sea cucumber, it is renewal. Within weeks, it regrows everything it lost, stomach, intestines, and all. This remarkable regeneration is more than survival, it's transformation. It's as though the creature treats danger not as an ending, but as a cue to begin again. Slowly, patiently, it rebuilds itself from within, a living lesson in resilience beneath the quiet waves. Blue whales sing songs that can travel hundreds of miles. The blue whale, the largest creature ever to have lived on Earth, speaks in voices so deep they vibrate through the bones of the planet. Their calls can carry for hundreds of miles through the cold water, low notes that roll and fade like distant thunder. To other whales, these songs form a map of presence, a way of saying, "I am here," across the emptiness of the sea. Some calls are so low that human ears can barely detect them. Each whale has its own variations, long, mournful pulses that may serve as communication, courtship, or navigation. In the stillness of the deep, their music becomes a kind of underwater weather, shaping how other creatures move and respond. It's astonishing to imagine, across entire oceans, these giants sing to one another, their songs echoing through a liquid world older than memory itself. During migration, males may repeat the same phrase for hours, a haunting refrain that carries through thermoclines and currents, guiding others or declaring territory. These songs can last for 20 minutes and be repeated for hours on end. To hear a blue whale call is to listen to the earth itself breathe, deep, slow, and resonant. Anglerfish males fuse into females for life. In the dark reaches of the abyss, the anglerfish carries its own lantern, a living lure that glows with bacterial light. Yet its strangest mystery is not its light, but its love. In many species, the male is tiny, fragile, and short-lived. When he finds a female, an encounter that may take months in the vast blackness, he bites her side and never lets go. Over time, their bodies fuse. His organs wither, his bloodstream merges with hers. He becomes a permanent part of her, providing sperm whenever needed, nourished by her body in return. Some females carry multiple fused males, small living companions along their flanks. What began as a hunt for a mate ends in a kind of biological union, unlike anything else in the animal world. A quiet merging of two lives in the dark, lit by a small, eternal light. This extreme form of sexual parasitism ensures reproductive success in an environment where encounters are rare and fleeting. The male's eyes and fins degenerate. His identity is absorbed into hers. He no longer hunts, no longer moves independently. He exists only to serve the continuity of their shared lineage. In the crushing silence of the deep, love becomes symbiosis, and survival becomes a shared breath. Dolphins give themselves unique names through whistles. Among the many sounds that ripple through the sea, the dolphin's voice is one of the most expressive. Each individual creates a distinctive whistle, a pattern of notes that functions like a name. Dolphins use these signature whistles to identify themselves and to call out to friends or family across great distances. It is not imitation, it is invention. Even calves develop their own names while still swimming beside their mothers. In studies, when a dolphin hears its own whistle played back through speakers, it responds instantly, recognizing itself. These names can be remembered for years, perhaps decades. They reveal something extraordinary about dolphin intelligence, a sense of identity, memory, and social awareness that blurs the line between animal communication and language. In the shimmering blue of the ocean, each dolphin carries its own melody, a song that says, simply and clearly, "I am me." Calves practice their whistles for weeks, refining the pitch and rhythm until it becomes uniquely theirs. Adult dolphins will even mimic another's whistle to get their attention, essentially calling them by name. This level of vocal learning is shared only by humans and a few songbirds. In the fluid world of the ocean, where individuals may separate for days or weeks, these whistles are lifelines, threads of sound that bind pods together across the vast blue. Some crabs decorate themselves with living sponges. Camouflage is an art form in the ocean, and few artists are more creative than decorator crabs. These small crustaceans collect bits of sponge, seaweed, coral, or shell, attaching them to tiny hook-like hairs on their shells. The result is a living disguise that changes with their surroundings. Some even trim sponges to fit perfectly, encouraging them to grow over the carapace like living armor. The relationship can be symbiotic. The sponge gains mobility and access to new feeding grounds, while the crab gains protection from predators. Each crab's decoration style is unique, a blend of instinct and environment, like a little underwater fashion designer. Scientists have found species that carry sea anemones on their claws, using their stinging tentacles as weapons. Beneath the waves, survival often means becoming part of the landscape. And these clever crabs have turned adaptation into an art. Seahorses are the only animals where males give birth. In the gentle sway of seagrass meadows, the seahorse drifts upright, delicate as a dream. When it comes to reproduction, it follows a rule found nowhere else in nature. It is the male who becomes pregnant. After a courtship dance of curling tails and synchronized motion, the female deposits her eggs into a special pouch on the male's abdomen. There he fertilizes and nurtures them, controlling temperature and salinity, and supplying oxygen through a network of blood vessels. After several weeks, he goes into labor, releasing hundreds of tiny, perfectly formed seahorses into the water. Then the cycle begins again. Scientists believe this role reversal evolved as a way to increase survival, both parents sharing the burden of creation. In that quiet underwater world, the seahorse stands as a small symbol of tenderness, patience, and balance, proof that nature's imagination knows no bounds. The Greenland shark can live for over 400 years. In the icy waters of the North Atlantic drifts a creature older than any tree alive today. The Greenland shark moves slowly, its heartbeat a lazy rhythm, barely once every 12 seconds. Scientists have dated some individuals to more than 4 centuries old, making them the longest-lived vertebrates on Earth. When these sharks were born, the world was still in the age of Shakespeare. They spend centuries cruising in cold darkness, growing only a few centimeters a year, feeding mostly on fish and seals. Their flesh is toxic when fresh, filled with compounds that act like antifreeze. It must be fermented for humans to eat it safely. How a creature can endure for so long remains a mystery. Perhaps their frigid environment slows life itself. In that deep, timeless water, the Greenland shark is a patient ghost, gliding through centuries with silent, ancient calm. Deep-sea dragonfish have transparent teeth. The dragonfish is a phantom of the abyss, sleek, black, and glowing with eerie lights along its sides. Yet its most unusual feature lies inside its mouth, teeth that are perfectly transparent. Made of a special crystalline structure, they reflect almost no light, allowing the dragonfish to remain invisible even when it opens its jaws. In the darkness of the deep sea, this stealth gives it an unmatched advantage. It can lunge at prey without the faintest glint betraying its presence. The dragonfish also wields a bioluminescent lure that dangles from its chin, glowing faintly to attract unsuspecting victims. When it strikes, it's swift, silent, and precise. These creatures inhabit depths where pressure would crush steel, but they thrive, armed with invisibility and light, in a world of eternal night. The dragonfish is both hunter and ghost, a masterpiece of adaptation carved by darkness itself. Some fish can walk on land using modified fins. Nature loves to blur boundaries, and some fish have taken that rule to heart, literally stepping beyond the sea. The mudskipper, for instance, spends much of its life above water, using its muscular fins to crawl, hop, and even climb mangrove roots. Its skin and mouth are lined with blood vessels that allow it to absorb oxygen directly from the air. Others, like the climbing perch, can wriggle across dry land for miles in search of new ponds. In tropical wetlands, this mobility can mean the difference between survival and suffocation. Watching one move is surreal, the grace of swimming replaced by a comical, determined shuffle, yet this ability may echo the ancient moment when the first fish-like creatures ventured ashore hundreds of millions of years ago, giving rise to amphibians, reptiles, and eventually us. Each mudskipper then carries a memory of evolution's boldest step. Electric eels can deliver shocks strong enough to stun horses. In the murky rivers of South America lives a creature that commands lightning. The electric eel, actually a kind of knife fish, generates powerful electric fields within specialized cells called electrocytes. When threatened or hunting, it discharges these cells in unison, releasing jolts reaching up to 600 volts, enough to knock a horse unconscious or light a string of bulbs. The shock travels instantly through water, stunning prey and dissuading predators. Even more astonishing, the eel can modulate its current, using low-voltage pulses to navigate and communicate, and high-voltage bursts to strike. When it wraps around a fish, it fires rapid pulses that force the prey's muscles to contract uncontrollably, immobilizing it completely. This living battery has evolved not only power, but precision, a weapon built from biology, a thunderstorm contained within skin. In its quiet river home, the eel carries the spark of electricity itself. A blue whale's tongue weighs as much as an elephant. The blue whale is a living monument, vast, serene, and incomprehensibly large. Its tongue alone can weigh as much as a full-grown elephant, and its heart is the size of a small car. Yet despite its scale, this gentle giant feeds on creatures smaller than a fingernail, tiny shrimp-like krill. By gulping enormous mouthfuls of seawater and then forcing it out through baleen plates, the whale filters millions of krill in a single meal. During feeding season, a blue whale can consume several tons of krill each day. Its voice, low and thunderous, can travel across entire oceans, and though its heart beats slowly, sometimes only once every 10 seconds, Each beat sends life coursing through the largest body ever known. The blue whale is not only enormous, it is an ocean in motion, a living continent of calm strength and endless grace. Vampire squids use glowing mucus clouds instead of ink. In the mesopelagic zone of the ocean, where sunlight never reaches, the vampire squid drifts like a living ember. Despite its name, it drinks no blood. Its title comes from its dark, cloak-like webbing and deep crimson hue. When threatened, it performs a defensive trick unlike any other. Instead of black ink, it releases a cloud of glowing mucus, shimmering with blue bioluminescence. The light distracts predators, giving the squid time to vanish into darkness. Its delicate arms are lined with light-producing organs, and its body glows faintly in pulses, fading in and out like slow breathing. It lives in some of the lowest oxygen environments on Earth, surviving where most others cannot. The vampire squid is not a monster, but a survivor of ancient lineage, a creature of quiet endurance, cloaked in light and shadow, adrift in the endless night of the sea. The pistol shrimp creates a bubble louder than a jet engine. Small enough to fit in your hand, the pistol shrimp wields one of the most extraordinary weapons in the animal kingdom. With a sudden snap of its specialized claw, it slams water together so fast that it creates a bubble of vapor. When this bubble collapses, it produces a shock wave that momentarily reaches temperatures as hot as the surface of the sun and generates a sound louder than a jet engine. The blast is powerful enough to stun or kill nearby prey. Even more remarkable, the collapse of the bubble emits a tiny flash of light, a phenomenon known as sonoluminescence. The pistol shrimp uses its claw not just as a weapon, but as a tool for communication, producing bursts and clicks that others can hear. In coral reefs, its staccato rhythm echoes like soft gunfire, a reminder that power can hide within the smallest of claws. Some worms form living knots to ensnare prey. In the deep ocean, where light and color fade to nothing, lives a group of predators known as ribbon worms. Slender, graceful, and often longer than a person, they possess an astonishing hunting tool, a proboscis that can shoot from their mouths like a harpoon. In some species, this proboscis unfurls into sticky threads that twist and knot around prey, binding it in a living snare. Once captured, the worm pulls its meal inward, swallowing it whole. Some species produce venom strong enough to subdue crustaceans instantly. The sight of a ribbon worm feeding is both eerie and mesmerizing, a slow ballet of tendrils winding through the dark. These creatures remind us that evolution's creativity knows no limits. In the abyss, survival is a matter of invention, and even the simplest bodies can perform the most elaborate feats of strategy and grace. Sea turtles can detect Earth's magnetic field. Each year, sea turtles undertake migrations that span entire oceans, returning with uncanny precision to the beaches where they were born. Scientists have long wondered how they navigate such vast distances through the featureless sea. The answer lies in an invisible sense, magnetoception. Sea turtles can detect Earth's magnetic field, reading it as though it were a map. Subtle variations in intensity and angle provide them with cues about latitude and longitude. Even hatchlings, released into the surf for the first time, orient themselves toward the open ocean using this built-in compass. Decades later, the same turtles will find their way back to that birthplace to lay eggs of their own. It's a navigation system written into their biology, connecting them to the planet itself. In a world of drifting tides, they follow a path traced not by stars, but by the very magnetism of Earth's heart. Some sharks glow green in the dark. When the lights of the sun fade into the deep, some sharks begin to glow. Species such as the chain cat shark and swell shark possess skin that emits a soft green fluorescence under blue ocean light. This glow isn't produced by bioluminescent bacteria, but by molecules within the shark's skin that absorb and re-emit light at different wavelengths. To human eyes, it's a subtle shimmer. To other sharks, it may be a bright signal, helping them identify one another in dim waters. The pattern of their glow is unique to each species, forming living constellations drifting through the sea. Scientists believe this fluorescence could also serve to camouflage the sharks against faint light from above. It's a quiet radiance, invisible until revealed by the right light, a secret language of color written in the dark, spoken only by the deep's most graceful hunters. Every creature with a nervous system needs sleep in some form. Sleep isn't a human invention. It appears to be woven into the very fabric of biology. From insects to elephants, any animal with a brain enters a state of reduced awareness and activity that we recognize as sleep. This near-universal need suggests sleep emerged early in evolutionary history, long before complex thought or consciousness. When you watch a fruit fly pause in stillness, wings folded, it is experiencing the same fundamental cycle that governs you. Sleep gives every living being a chance to reset, to clear cellular waste, repair damage, consolidate learning, and restore balance. Though sleep styles vary from long, deep slumber to brief, scattered naps, the fact that it exists everywhere tells us something profound. Sleep is not optional. It is as necessary as food, water, and breath, a law of life itself. Even jellyfish, creatures with no brain at all, appear to sleep. This discovery stunned scientists. Jellyfish pulse rhythmically as they drift through the ocean, but at night their movements slow, they sink toward the seafloor, and they respond less to disturbances around them. If kept awake, they become sluggish the next day, just like sleep-deprived humans. This suggests that sleep may predate nervous systems entirely. Perhaps it began as a simple cellular rhythm, an energy-saving pause that allowed early life to survive the dark. In jellyfish, sleep is stripped down to its essence, a daily cycle of activity and rest that keeps biological processes in balance. It's humbling to think that these simple ocean drifters may hold clues to why you, too, must surrender to darkness every night. Sleep, it seems, is older than thought itself. If you live to be 90, you'll spend about 30 years asleep. That's more time than you'll spend working, eating, or watching television. Yet those decades aren't lost, they're quietly productive. While you're dreaming, your brain is cleaning house, strengthening memories, and recalibrating your emotions. Sleep is not passive downtime, it's active construction. Those missing years are when your mind weaves the raw material of your days into the story of your life. In a very real sense, your waking self is built and maintained by your sleeping self. The two are not opposites, but partners, each shaping the other in a delicate, nightly dance. The longest recorded time without sleep is 11 days. In 1964, a teenager named Randy Gardner stayed awake for 264 hours as a science experiment. At first, he was merely tired, but soon his mood darkened, his memory failed, and his thoughts grew disordered. By the end, he was hallucinating, seeing street signs as people, hearing voices that weren't there. Remarkably, he recovered fully after a few nights of rest. His feat remains legendary, but also cautionary. Pushing the body this far is dangerous. Few have tried to beat his record, not out of lack of interest, but because we now know sleep deprivation can cause serious harm, even death. 11 days represents the outer edge of human endurance. Beyond it lies breakdown. Sleep deprivation can be more dangerous than starvation. You can survive weeks without food, but only days without sleep. In lab studies, sleep-deprived rats die faster than those dennied food. In humans, even moderate sleep loss impairs coordination, weakens immunity, raises blood pressure, and clouds judgment. After 24 hours awake, your reaction time slows as much as if you were legally drunk. Go longer and your perception warps. You may see things that aren't there, forget simple tasks, or struggle to form coherent thoughts. In rare cases like fatal familial insomnia, people literally die because they cannot sleep. This shows that while food fuels the body, sleep sustains the mind. Without it, no amount of calories can keep you whole. Rest isn't a luxury, it's survival. Your brain cleans itself while you sleep. At night, during deep sleep, a system called the glymphatic system kicks into high gear. Cerebrospinal fluid surges through the brain like a cleansing tide, flushing out waste products that build up during the day. One of those wastes is beta amyloid, a protein linked to Alzheimer's disease. This nightly wash is far less efficient during waking hours. So sleep isn't just about feeling refreshed, it's literal brain hygiene. When you wake clear-headed after a good night's rest, it's because your brain has been scrubbed clean. Without this process, toxic clutter accumulates, increasing the risk of long-term cognitive decline. Sleep, then, is your brain's quiet janitor, working unseen to keep your mind sharp and healthy. Dreams help your brain process emotions. During REM sleep, the phase most associated with vivid dreaming, your brain revisits emotional experiences from the day. The amygdala, which handles fear and emotion, is highly active, while stress-related chemicals like norepinephrine drop to near zero. This creates a safe space where you can replay difficult moments without being overwhelmed by them. Grief, anxiety, joy, they're all woven into your dreams, softened and integrated. That's why a good night's sleep can ease a bad mood, and why emotional pain feels sharper when you're sleep-deprived. Dreams don't erase your feelings, but they help you carry them more gently. In this way, every dream is a quiet form of therapy, offered freely by your own mind. Some people dream only in black and white. Not all dreamscapes are painted in color. For some, dreams unfold in shades of grey, as if watched on an old television. This was far more common in the mid-20th century, when black and white media dominated daily life. Today, with color imagery everywhere, grayscale dreams are rarer, but still reported by a small portion of people. Scientists believe this may reflect how media shapes our internal worlds. Your dreams might not just replay memory, but also mirror the visual language of your waking life. Why some brains still default to monochrome remains unknown, but it's a reminder that even in the private theater of the mind, experience leaves its mark. Dolphins sleep with half their brain awake. Living in the ocean demands constant vigilance. You must surface to breathe, watch for predators, and stay with your pod. To manage this, dolphins evolved unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. One brain hemisphere rests while the other stays alert. One eye stays open, the other closes. After a while, they switch sides. This way, they never fully lose awareness, yet still gain the restorative benefits of sleep. It's a brilliant compromise between safety and rest. Where we surrender completely to sleep, dolphins negotiate with it, hovering between worlds with grace and precision. Birds can nap while flying. Frigate birds, which soar for days over open ocean, have been observed dozing mid-flight. Using tiny brain monitors, scientists confirmed they slip into unihemispheric sleep while gliding, often for just seconds at a time. During migration, these micronaps add up, allowing them to rest without ever landing. Some birds may even enter brief full-brain sleep while riding air currents, trusting the wind to hold them aloft. For these creatures, the sky is both highway and bedroom. It's a stunning adaptation, a reminder that sleep is flexible, reshaped by the demands of survival. Even in the endless air, rest finds a way. Giraffes sleep less than 2 hours a day. Towering and vulnerable, giraffes must stay alert to predators. Lying down to sleep is slow and awkward for them, so they often doze standing up in short bursts of just a few minutes. Their total daily sleep averages under 2 hours, one of the lowest among mammals, yet they remain healthy and alert. This shows that enough sleep isn't the same for every species. For giraffes, survival has favored minimal rest and constant readiness. Their lives are a quiet testament to how evolution tailors sleep to fit the world an animal inhabits. Cats sleep 12 to 16 hours a day. From house pets to lions, felines are champions of rest. This isn't laziness, it's strategy. Wild cats conserve energy for short bursts of intense hunting. Domestic cats inherited this rhythm, even though their meals now come in bowls. They cycle lie between light dozing and deep sleep, ears twitching at every sound, ready to spring awake if needed. When your cat stretches and curls into another nap, it's not indulgence, it's ancient wisdom. In their sleep, you see the elegant balance between vigilance and restoration that has kept cats thriving for millions of years. The platypus experiences more REM sleep than any other mammal. This odd, duck-billed creature spends up to 8 hours a day in REM sleep, the stage linked to vivid dreaming. That's more than humans, more than newborns, more than any other mammal studied. During this time, their brains are highly active, their eyes flicker, and their bodies twitch. Scientists believe this exaggerated REM may be a relic from an earlier stage of mammalian evolution, when dreaming helped rehearse movements or process sensory input. By studying the platypus, we glimpse a more primal version of dreaming, one that connects us to the deep past of our own brains. Some people can control their dreams. This is called lucid dreaming. In a lucid dream, you realize you're dreaming while still inside the dream. For some, this awareness unlocks astonishing freedom, flying over cities, walking through walls, or reshaping entire dream worlds at will. Lucid dreaming has been documented in spiritual traditions for centuries, and modern brain scans confirm it's real, a unique blend of waking awareness and dream activity. Some people stumble into it by accident, others train with techniques like dream journaling or reality checks. For them, the dream world becomes a place of creativity, healing, and exploration. It's proof that even in sleep, part of the mind can stay awake, watching, playing, and wondering. Sleep strengthens your memories. When you learn something new, whether a fact, a skill, or a song, sleep is what locks it into place. During deep sleep, the hippocampus replays recent experiences, transferring them from short-term to long-term storage in the cortex. It's like running an overnight backup for your brain. At the same time, unimportant details are pruned away, making room for new learning. Without sleep, memories remain fragile and easily lost. This is why all-night cramming often backfires. The brain needs rest to turn fleeting impressions into lasting knowledge. Every night of sleep is a silent tutor, reinforcing the lessons of your day. Lack of sleep makes you more likely to misremember. When you're sleep-deprived, your brain struggles to distinguish real memories from imagined ones. You might become confident about events that never happened or mix up details in confusing ways. Studies show even mild sleep loss increases false memories and poor judgment. The tired brain stitches fragments together carelessly, creating a distorted version of reality. Sleep isn't just about remembering, it's about remembering accurately. Without it, the story of your own life begins to blur, like ink smudged on wet paper. Most vivid dreaming happens during REM sleep. REM, rapid eye movement, sleep occurs in cycles throughout the night, usually lengthening toward morning. During REM, your brain is nearly as active as when you're awake. Visual centers light up, emotions surge, and memory fragments are woven into bizarre story-like dreams. Yet your body remains paralyzed, a built-in safety feature that keeps you from acting out your dreams. This paralysis is why REM dreams feel so real. Your mind is inventing entire worlds, but your body is locked in stillness. Many creative breakthroughs, from music to science, have emerged from REM dreams. It's proof that even in sleep, the brain is restless, inventive, and alive. Deep sleep helps repair your muscles. During slow-wave, deep sleep, your body shifts into repair mode. Growth hormone floods your system, stimulating tissue healing and muscle growth. This is why athletes prioritize deep rest. It's when their bodies actually recover from training. Even if you're not an athlete, your muscles are constantly repairing the tiny wear and tear of daily life. Deep sleep is when that restoration happens. Miss it, and you'll feel weaker, more fatigued, and slower to heal. Deep sleep is your body's hidden workshop, where broken things are quietly fixed and strength is renewed. Sleep helps regulate your appetite. Two key hormones, ghrelin, which signals hunger, and leptin, which signals fullness, are controlled by sleep. When you don't sleep enough, ghrelin rises and leptin falls. The result? You feel hungrier, especially for sugary, fatty foods. This made sense in ancient times. When the body was depleted, it sought quick energy. But in modern life, chronic sleep loss often leads to overeating and weight gain. Sleep isn't just about rest, it's about balance. A good night's sleep resets your hunger signals, helping you eat in tune with your body's true needs. When you're sleep deprived, you crave junk food. Brain scans show that tired people have heightened activity in reward centers when they eat images of cookies, chips, or burgers. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, the part that handles self-control, slows down. The result? Stronger cravings and weaker willpower. You're not just hungrier, you're specifically drawn to high-calorie, low-nutrient foods. This double whammy helps explain why poor sleep is linked to obesity. Your body isn't failing you, it's responding to biology. But with rest, that balance returns. Sleep is not just medicine for the mind. It's a shield against cravings your body can't manage alone. Sleep boosts your immune system. During deep sleep, your immune system releases cytokines, proteins that fight infection and inflammation. Sleep also enhances the function of T cells, which identify and destroy invaders. People who sleep well are less likely to catch colds or flu. Vaccines even work better in well-rested people because their bodies form stronger immune memories. Just a few nights of poor sleep can leave you vulnerable to illness. Sleep is your body's nightly defense rehearsal, preparing your internal army to stand guard against threats. Without it, your shield cracks. With it, you stay strong. People who sleep less are more likely to get sick. In one famous study, people exposed to a cold virus were nearly 3 times more likely to get sick if they'd slept less than 7 hours. Chronic sleep deprivation is also linked to slower healing, higher inflammation, and even increased cancer risk. Sleep isn't a luxury, it's frontline defense. Every missed hour weakens your protection. To stay well, sometimes the best medicine isn't a pill, it's a good night's rest. Your brain uses less energy in deep sleep than when awake. During slow-wave sleep, overall brain activity drops significantly. While certain repair processes run, the brain's energy consumption falls, giving it a break from constant processing. This low-power mode may be why deep sleep feels so restorative. The mind finally sets down its tools, letting neural networks quiet into stillness. It's a pocket of silence where the brain breathes, a necessary pause in the ceaseless work of being awake. Sleep helps your brain rewire itself. This process, called neuroplasticity, is how you learn and adapt. During the day, your brain forms new connections, but they're messy and inefficient. At night, especially during REM sleep, It trims unnecessary links and strengthens useful ones. It's like pruning a garden, removing overgrowth so the strongest plants can flourish. Without sleep, learning stays tangled. With it, experiences become knowledge. Sleep doesn't just recover from the past. It prepares you for the future, reshaping your mind for what's ahead. Babies spend about half their sleep in REM. Newborns may sleep 16-17 hours a day, with REM making up nearly 50% of that time, compared to 20% in adults. Scientists believe this abundance of REM helps their rapidly developing brains process the flood of new sensations, sights, sounds, touches coming in every second. The twitching you see in sleeping babies may be signs of this intense neural activity, as their brains practice movements and build connections. As children grow, REM decreases, settling into adult patterns. But in those early months, dreaming is a hidden engine of development, building the mind before it even learns to speak. Teens naturally fall asleep later than adults. During adolescence, the body's internal clock shifts. Melatonin, the sleep hormone, is released later in the evening, making teens biologically inclined to stay up late and sleep in. This isn't rebellion, it's biology. Unfortunately, early school start times force them to wake before their bodies are ready, leading to chronic sleep debt. When schools shift start times later, attendance and grades improve. For teens, the desire to stay up isn't laziness. It's a natural rhythm that often clashes with the adult world. Sleep cycles last about 90 minutes. Each night, you move through 4-6 cycles of sleep, each lasting roughly 90 minutes. A cycle begins with light sleep, deepens into slow-wave sleep, then rises into REM before starting again. Early cycles are rich in deep sleep. Later ones have more REM. Waking at the end of a cycle often leaves you feeling more refreshed than waking mid-cycle, which can cause grogginess. This rhythm is your brain's nightly journey, down into restoration, up into dreaming, and back again. People who nap often live longer. Studies in cultures with siesta traditions, like Spain or Greece, show frequent nappers have lower rates of heart disease. Naps lower stress, reduce blood pressure, and give the cardiovascular system a chance to recover. While not all research agrees, the pattern is compelling. A short nap isn't just a break, it may be a tiny investment in longevity. In stillness, the body remembers how to heal. A 20-minute nap can improve learning. These power naps dip into light sleep without entering deep stages that cause grogginess. Research shows they boost ALIA, teenness, memory, and problem-solving. Students who nap after studying often recall more. Pilots and surgeons use them to stay sharp. 20 minutes may seem small, but it's enough for the brain to reset, as if pausing on a long climb to catch your breath. Longer naps can leave you feeling groggy. Naps over 30 minutes often enter deep sleep. Waking from this stage causes sleep inertia, a foggy, heavy feeling that can last minutes or hours. While long naps aren't always bad, many cultures balance them with later bedtimes. For most people, short naps are safer and more refreshing. The art of napping isn't just closing your eyes. it's knowing when to wake. Monks sometimes train to sleep sitting upright. In some Buddhist traditions, sleep is part of spiritual practice. Monks may rest upright in meditation posture, neither leaning left nor right. This reduces deep sleep and keeps the mind closer to awareness. Some sleep only a few hours a night, distributed in brief intervals. For them, sleep isn't escape, it's discipline. Even rest can be mindful. Imagine drifting off while balanced, the body still, the mind floating between dream and wakefulness. Napoleon reportedly slept only 4 hours a night. He called sleep a waste of time, yet accounts suggest he napped often. Toward the end of his reign, he grew erratic, possibly due to chronic sleep loss. His example shows that while some short sleepers function well, most of us pay a price for following their lead. His brilliance may have flourished not despite rest, but because of the naps he took in secret. Leonardo da Vinci may have used polyphasic sleep. Legend says he napped for 20 minutes every 4 hours, avoiding long nightly sleep. Whether true or not, this Huberman schedule is grueling and rarely sustainable. It reflects Da Vinci's belief that time could be mastered, even sleep bent to human will. But for most, nightly rest is a need to honor. Thomas Edison dismissed sleep as wasted time, yet he napped constantly in his workshop. He helped create a culture that equates long hours with virtue and rest with laziness. But modern science shows sleep enhances creativity and problem solving. Edison's naps may have fueled his inventions more than his all-nighters. His disdain for sleep was ironic. His greatest tool may have been the rest he claimed to scorn. Blind people can still experience visual dreams. Those who lost sight later in life often continue dreaming in images. Even those blind from birth report dreams rich in sound, touch, and spatial awareness, and sometimes flashes of visual-like imagery generated by the brain itself. This shows dreaming isn't just replaying sensory input, it's the mind creating its own reality. The dream world belongs to the brain, not the eyes. Some people have recurring dreams for decades. Common themes include being chased, unprepared for a test, or flying over familiar landscapes. These may reflect unresolved emotions or deeply ingrained memories. What's remarkable is how long they persist, sometimes vanishing for years, then returning in adulthood. Recurring dreams reveal that the dream world has its own continuity, a private mythology that threads through your life. Nightmares are more common in children. Their developing brains are still learning to process fear and stress, so emotions often spill into dreams. Nightmares may serve as emotional training, helping kids rehearse responses to threats. Over time, they usually decrease, though they may resurface during adolescence. For children, sleep can be a landscape of both wonder and fear, but it's also where they learn to navigate both. Sleep paralysis can cause waking dreams. In this state, your body remains paralyzed as it is during REM, but your mind becomes aware. You're awake but can't move, often accompanied by vivid hallucinations, shadowy figures, pressure on the chest, or voices. Cultures worldwide explain this as demonic visitations. Science sees it as a glitch where dreaming and wakefulness collide. Though frightening, it's usually harmless, a reminder that the line between dream and reality is thinner than we think. The word nightmare originally meant night demon. In Old English, mare referred to an evil spirit that sat on sleepers' chests, suffocating them with terror. Over time, the word shifted to describe the dream itself. This linguistic shift mirrors our journey from superstition to science, but the word still carries echoes of ancient fear. Even now, a nightmare feels more than bad. It feels oppressive, inescapable. Sleepwalking is most common in children. Up to 1 in 5 kids sleepwalk, likely due to immature brain systems that regulate sleep-wake transitions. They may wander, talk, or perform complex actions, all while deeply asleep. Most outgrow it by adulthood. For parents, it's both fascinating and alarming. A child moving with open eyes but no awareness, like a ghost in their own home. Some people eat while asleep without remembering it. Sleep-relate. De-eating disorder causes people to raid the kitchen, cook, or consume strange items like raw bacon or salt while fully asleep. It's linked to partial arousal during deep sleep, when motor systems activate without full consciousness. For those affected, it can lead to injury or weight gain. It's a stark reminder that sleep isn't always peaceful. Sometimes it's fractured and unpredictable. Sleep talking can happen in any sleep stage. Mumbling, whispering, or shouting full sentences while asleep is common. In deep sleep, speech is often garbled. In lighter stages, it may be clear and startlingly coherent. Most sleep talkers remember nothing, leaving bed partners puzzled. It reveals how active the brain remains at night, language networks sparking even when you're unaware. Sleep talking is like eavesdropping on your mind's unfinished thoughts. Some people sing in their sleep. Rarer than sleep talking, sleep singing involves humming, reciting lyrics, or even full, if drowsy, performances. It comes from the same neural misfiring as sleep talking, but with melody. Listeners describe it as eerie or enchanting, like hearing a private concert from someone unaware they're performing. Even in unconsciousness, the brain sometimes can't help but make music. Dogs twitch in their sleep because they're dreaming. Studies confirm dogs experience REM sleep, and their movements, paws jerking, whiskers twitching, are signs of dreaming. Puppies twitch more than adults, likely because their brains are rehearsing motor skills. What do they dream of? Probably chasing, playing, or sniffing through familiar places. When your dog paddles its paws mid-sleep, it may be running through dream meadows only it can see. Rats dream about running through mazes. When rats navigate a maze, their brains create unique firing patterns. During sleep, researchers see nearly identical patterns replaying, as if the rat is running the maze again in its dreams. Sometimes the sequence runs faster or in reverse, suggesting the brain is analyzing the experience. This supports the idea that sleep consolidates learning. Humans likely do something similar, revisiting the day's lessons in dream form. Sleep loss affects mood before it affects thinking. The first sign of poor sleep isn't foggy thinking, it's emotional instability. Irritability, anxiety, and sadness swell after just one bad night. Brain scans show the amygdala fear center becomes hyperactive, While the prefrontal cortex, rational voice, weakens, you snap more easily, feel overwhelmed faster. Sleep first protects your emotional balance, only later does it safeguard logic. Without it, even small stresses feel like crises. You can't fully catch up on lost sleep. Weekend lions ease some fatigue, but they don't undo the memory, immune, or metabolic repairs missed during the week. Sleep debt accumulates like credit card interest. Each night's rest must be paid on time. The only true fix is consistent, nightly sleep. A marathon nap can't replace the countless tiny repairs that should have happened each night along the way. People who sleep less tend to weigh more. Short sleep disrupts hunger hormones, increases cravings for junk food, and may slow metabolism. Over time, this leads to weight gain. Sleep isn't just about willpower, it's biology. To maintain a healthy weight, rest is as essential as diet and exercise. Lost sleep shifts the scale with every missed hour. Insomnia affects up to 1/3 of adults. At some point, most people struggle to fall or stay asleep. For some, it's temporary, for others, chronic. The cruel irony: the harder you try to sleep, the more elusive it becomes. Treatments like cognitive behavioral therapy help, but insomnia reminds us sleep isn't a switch. It's a rhythm to be coaxed. For millions, the night feels endless. Women report more insomnia than men. Hormonal shifts during menstruation, pregnancy, and menopause disrupt sleep. Women also experience higher rates of anxiety and depression, which affect rest. Social factors like caregiving and stress play a role too. The result is a gender gap in sleep complaints. Yet women may be more resilient to sleep loss, suggesting biology bends in complex ways. The record for the longest nap is unknown. No one tracks it. We know who stayed awake longest, but not who slept longest. Naps resist measurement because they're spontaneous, personal, and hard to define. Is a 10-hour nap just short night's sleep? Does medical sedation count? Perhaps naps are too gentle for records. Their magic lies in secrecy, moments of rest that belong only to the sleeper. Some people naturally sleep only 4-6 hours a night. Called short sleepers, they have genetic mutations, like in the DAC2 gene, that make their sleep more efficient. They wake refreshed with no apparent health cost. But this is rare. True short sleepers are the exception, not the rule. For most, mimicking them leads only to exhaustion. Their existence shows human biology is wonderfully diverse, but also that rules can't be bent by will alone. Narcolepsy makes people fall asleep suddenly. This disorder disrupts the brain's sleep-wake control. Sufferers may collapse mid-conversation, mid-meal, or mid-step. Many also experience cataplexy, sudden muscle loss triggered by strong emotions like laughter. Narcolepsy is linked to low levels of hypocretin, a brain chemical that stabilizes wakefulness. For those who live with it, sleep isn't a choice. It's an intruder that sweeps in without warning. Narcolepsy can make people dream instantly. Most people enter REM sleep about 90 minutes after falling asleep. But those with narcolepsy can slip into REM within minutes, even directly from wakefulness. This causes vivid hallucinations that blur dream and reality. For them, The boundary between worlds is paper-thin. Dreams aren't distant, they're always hovering, ready to flood in. REM sleep behavior disorder makes people act out dreams. Normally, your body is paralyzed during REM to prevent this. But in this rare disorder, that safeguard fails. Dreamers may shout, punch, or leap from bed, acting out dream scenarios. It's often linked to neurological conditions like Parkinson's, sometimes appearing years before other symptoms. For sufferers, sleep becomes dangerous, a dream bleeding into reality with no barrier. Sleep apnea interrupts breathing hundreds of times a night. In obstructive sleep apnea, the airway collapses during sleep, causing pauses in breathing. The brain briefly wakes you to restart breathing, sometimes 300 times a night. You may not remember these awakenings, but they shatter rest. Untreated apnea raises risks of heart disease and stroke. CPAP machines can restore normal sleep, life-changing for many. Apnea reveals how fragile rest can be. Even breath, taken for granted while awake, becomes precarious in sleep. Snoring can reach over 80 decibels, louder than city traffic. It's caused by vibrating throat tissues as muscles relax. While occasional snoring is normal, chronic snoring can signal apnea. For bed partners, it's often disruptive enough to require earplugs or separate rooms. The humor of snoring masks its seriousness. It's both a social and health issue. Even silence isn't guaranteed in sleep. Sometimes, rest comes with its own soundtrack. Elephants snore too. With their massive airways, elephants produce deep, rumbling snores that can echo through the night. They sleep only 2-4 hours a day, often lying down. Their snores, sometimes audible from far away, connect us across species. From humans to dogs to elephants, the noisy vibrations of rest remind us sleep is universal. Even the most majestic creatures aren't exempt from its quirks. Sleeping in total darkness helps regulate your body clock. Darkness triggers melatonin release, signaling it's time to sleep. Even small light sources, phones, street lamps, alarm clocks, can suppress melatonin and fragment sleep. Over time, light pollution is linked to insomnia and mood disorders. Blackout curtains and screen-free bedrooms aren't just comfort, they're alignment with your biology. In darkness, the body remembers its ancient rhythm. Light exposure at night disrupts sleep. Blue light from screens is especially disruptive. It tricks your brain into thinking it's daytime, delaying sleep onset and reducing quality. Even dim bedroom light can cause micro-awakenings. Evolution shaped us for firelight and stars, not glowing rectangles inches from our faces. To rest well, we must reclaim darkness, not as absence, but as invitation. People near the poles adapt to months of light and dark. In the Arctic, summer brings 24-hour daylight, winter near total darkness. Residents use blackout curtains in summer and light therapy in winter to maintain rhythms. They prove human biology is flexible, but also that we need tools to anchor ourselves when nature's cycles vanish. Sleep there isn't just biological, it's cultural, shaped by community and tradition. Jet lag is your body clock adjusting to new time zones. When you fly across zones, your internal rhythm lags behind. Fatigue, insomnia, and irritability follow. It takes about 1 day per time zone to adjust. Morning light helps reset your clock faster. For astronauts who see 16 sunrises a day on the ISS, managing light is essential. Jet lag reminds us we are tied to ancient sun and shadow cycles, even as planes shrink the globe. Astronauts sleep strapped to walls so they don't float away. In zero gravity, there's no down. Astronauts sleep in small, cocoon-like bags attached to spacecraft walls. They float weightlessly, bodies fully supported. Yet sleep in space is often shallow and fragmented. Noise, light, and disorientation interfere. Dreams may feel strange, shaped by weightlessness. Even among the stars, the body insists on its nightly ritual, a reminder that sleep travels with us, no matter how far we go. External sounds can slip into dreams. A phone ring might become a doorbell in a dream. Rain might too. RN into a storm you're walking through. Researchers use this in targeted memory reactivation, playing sounds tied to learned tasks during sleep to boost memory. Many people experience this naturally, alarm clocks morphing into dream scenarios. It shows dreaming isn't sealed off, it's porous, blending inner imagination with outer reality. Sleep isn't total separation, it's conversation. Dream journaling improves recall. Most dreams vanish within minutes of waking, but writing them down, even fragments, trains your brain to remember more. Over time, dreams become clearer, richer, and more detailed. Journals reveal recurring themes, turning chaotic dream life into a personal map. For lucid dreamers, journaling is foundational. A notebook by your bed becomes a doorway, each page a record of voyages that vanish unless caught at dawn. People forget up to 90% of their dreams. Within minutes of waking, most dream content disappears like mist. During REM, memory-forming chemicals are low, so experiences remain unanchored. This may be by design. Dreams serve their purpose, emotional processing, memory sorting, without cluttering waking life. The loss adds to their mystery. Dreams are performances seen only once, fading before the final curtain falls. Dreams can solve real-world problems. Chemist Auguste Kekulé dreamed of a snake biting its tail, inspiring the ring structure of benzene. Musicians, writers, and inventors often find solutions in sleep. Free from waking logic, the sleeping brain recombines ideas in novel ways. That's why sleep on it is timeless advice. Sleep is fertile ground for insight. Sometimes the mind hands you gifts wrapped in surreal stories, answers you didn't know you were seeking. Paul McCartney dreamed the melody for Yesterday. He woke with the tune fully formed, initially thinking he'd heard it somewhere. After confirming it was original, it became one of the most recorded songs in history. He described it as a gift from the unconscious. This echoes countless tales of art born in sleep. In the space between waking and dreaming, the mind reveals ideas that feel both intimate and universal, as if carried from a hidden place. Mary Shelley's dream inspired Frankenstein. In 1816, during a stormy night in Switzerland, she saw a scientist kneeling beside a creature he'd stitched together, life flickering in its veins. She turned this waking dream into Frankenstein, birthing science fiction. Her vision shows how nighttime imagination can seed cultural revolutions. Dreams aren't idle, they can shape the stories humanity tells for centuries. Your brain is more creative after dreaming. During REM, the brain strengthens connections between unrelated ideas, boosting creativity. People who dream perform better on insight problems than those who stay awake. Artists and scientists describe sleep as fertile ground for inspiration. Dreams loosen logic's grip, letting imagination play. After dreaming, the mind wakes not just restored, but renewed, ready to see the world anew. Sleep deprivation causes emotional instability. Without sleep, the amygdala flares while the prefrontal cortex dims. You become irritable, anxious, and less resilient. Sleep integrates emotions, weaving them into memory with softer edges. Without it, feelings stay jagged and overwhelming. This is why insomnia worsens depression, and why a good night's sleep feels like an emotional reset. REM isn't just for dreaming, it's for balance. People deprived of REM become more aggressive. Animals and humans denied REM sleep grow quicker to anger, less patient, more prone to conflict. The brain can't process emotions properly, leaving frustrations sharp and unsoftened. In daily life, this explains why fatigue leads to arguments and snapped responses. Aggression isn't just mood, it's neurological. Dreams are medicine for the mind. Without them, it grows brittle. Sleep loss can make you hallucinate. After 72+ hours without sleep, people often see flashes of light, hear phantom voices, or glimpse figures that aren't there. The brain, desperate for dreamlike activity, projects imagery into waking life. It's as if the mind insists on dreaming, even when denied the chance. These hallucinations warn, sleep isn't optional. It's the anchor that holds consciousness steady. Without it, reality itself unravels. In ancient Rome, doctors prescribed sleep for nearly everything. Roman physicians saw sleep as nature's healer, a force that restored balance to the body's humors. Patients were advised to rest in quiet chambers for fevers, injuries, or melancholy. Though they lacked modern tools, their observation was sound. Rest accelerates healing. Across centuries, the advice endures. Sleep isn't just refuge, it's remedy. An ancient prescription that requires no apothecary, only the willingness to close your eyes. Ancient cultures believed dreams were messages from gods. In Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Greece, kings consulted dream interpreters before making decisions. Healing temples welcomed dreamers seeking cures through divine visions. Dreams were seen as truer than waking life, a window into the spiritual realm. Today, we explain dreams through neuroscience, but their sacred aura lingers. Even now, many feel certain dreams carry deeper meaning, echoes of intuition, or messages from beyond. Sleep strengthens learning in ways waking practice cannot. Musicians, athletes, and students all perform better after sleep. The brain replays and reinforces skills during rest, integrating new knowledge with old. Cramming without sleep fails because the mind needs stillness to cement learning. Sleep is the hidden teacher, the quiet coach who works while you're away. Mastery isn't just effort, it's surrender. Sleep helps babies learn language. Infants, Brains replay sounds they hear while awake, reinforcing neural circuits that link speech to meaning. Naps after hearing new words improve recognition later. In a sense, babies practice language in their dreams even before they speak. Without sleep, their developing brains would drown in information. At night, sleep isn't just rest, it's construction, laying language's foundation. Adolescents who sleep more perform better academically. Teens genuinely need more rest due to brain development. Studies show sufficient sleep improves grades, attention, and memory. Early school start times rob them of this, creating widespread sleep debt. When schools shift later, attendance and mood improve. Sleep isn't laziness for teens, it's fuel. Give them rest, and they thrive. Sleep improves athletic performance. During deep sleep, muscles repair and energy stores replenish. REM refines motor skills. Athletes who extend sleep see gains in speed, accuracy, and endurance. Reaction times sharpen, injury risk drops. Elite teams now prioritize sleep as part of training. Victories are decided not just on the field, but in the bedroom, where real rebuilding happens unseen. Olympians sometimes nap before competing. At the highest level, naps sharpen alertness and focus. These rests are short, 20–30 minutes, to avoid grogginess. In sports where milliseconds matter, the difference between fatigue and freshness is everything. Champions nap in locker rooms or quiet corners. Sleep isn't weakness, it's power. In the silence before glory, many dream briefly, then wake ready. Elite chess players nap to refresh strategy. After hours of intense focus, naps restore clarity and reduce errors. Sleep enhances problem-solving and creativity, essential in chess, where positions require both calculation and imagination. A nap is a reset button, clearing mental clutter. In quiet moments between matches, sleep becomes strategy, a secret weapon behind closed eyes. Long-haul truckers nap to stay safe. Drowsy driving is as dangerous as drunk driving. Naps of 20–30 minutes restore alertness and reduce crash risk. Regulations in many countries require rest breaks, treating sleep as safety equipment. A nap on the roadside isn't indulgence, it's the act of keeping the world safe. For those guiding massive machines, sleep is survival. The siesta is an ancient human tradition. Rooted in agrarian life, it offered rest during the hottest hours. But it's also biological. A natural dip in alertness occurs mid-afternoon. In cultures where napping is honored, people show better health and mood. The siesta isn't laziness, it's alignment with the body's rhythm. Human life isn't meant to be a straight line of effort, but a cycle: work, rest, work again, bent with the sun. Humans may be naturally biphasic sleepers. Before artificial light, many societies practiced first sleep and second sleep, with a quiet waking period around midnight. People prayed, talked, or reflected before returning to bed. Industrial schedules compressed this into one block, but our biology still shows two natural dips in alertness, night and afternoon. Perhaps modern insomnia is sometimes just biology remembering an older rhythm. Sleep may not be one long stretch, but two, a life of pauses and returns. Dreams often reflect what you did that day. This is the day residue effect. A song you heard, a place you walked, a conversation you had. These fragments reappear in dreams, sometimes transformed, sometimes unchanged. The brain is integrating new memories, deciding what to keep. Dreams aren't perfect mirrors, they remix, exaggerate, or distort. A simple task becomes an adventure. The mundane becomes surreal. In this nightly lab, the raw material of life is tested, shaped, and stored. Sleep stabilizes your emotional experiences. During REM, the brain replays emotional events while stress chemicals are low, allowing feelings to be processed without re-traumatization. The result? A softening. What felt overwhelming yesterday feels manageable today. Sleep doesn't erase pain, it transforms it into something bearable. Night by night, the mind heals itself, whispering calm into the storm. Sleep-deprived people become riskier. Decision makers, the prefrontal cortex, which weighs consequences, weakens while reward centers stay active. The result? Impulsive gambles, poor judgment, reckless choices. Fatigue contributes to accidents, financial errors, and bad calls. Sleep loss turns rational thought into hazard. Restored sleep brings caution back. Without rest, wisdom falters. The mind approaches cliffs unaware. Sleep-deprived people laugh more at jokes. Fatigue amplifies all emotional responses, even amusement. Sleep-deprived brains show exaggerated reactions to humor, lowering the threshold for laughter. This explains the midnight sillies, bouts of uncontrollable giggles among tired friends. It's charming, but also proof of instability. Without sleep, the world becomes both funnier and harsher, light and shadow unbalanced. Your heartbeat slows dramatically in deep sleep. Heart rate drops 20–30%, blood pressure falls, and the cardiovascular system recovers from the day's strain. This nightly pause is crucial. People deprived of deep sleep have higher risks of heart disease. The slowing heartbeat isn't just relaxation, it's therapy. Each night your heart rests, beats softly in the dark, preparing for tomorrow. Sleep is its hidden ally. Body temperature drops when you fall asleep. Core temperature falls 1–2 degrees F, signaling it's time to rest. This cooling is orchestrated by your circadian rhythm. A warm bath before bed helps. By drawing heat to the skin, it triggers faster cooling afterward. The nightly chill isn't discomfort, it's biology's cue. To fall asleep is to surrender heat, to let the body drift into evening's calm. You release growth hormone during sleep. Especially in deep sleep, this hormone drives repair, muscle growth, and metabolism. In children, it fuels development. In adults, it maintains strength and aids healing. Without sufficient sleep, release diminishes, slowing recovery. Sleep is active construction. Muscles knit, bones strengthen, tissues renew. Growth hormone is sleep's tireless laborer. Your body repairs DNA while you sleep. Genes linked to cellular repair switch on at night, correcting damage from UV light, toxins, and metabolism. Mice deprived of sleep show increased DNA damage in neurons. This nightly maintenance is invisible but monumental. While you dream, trillions of cells safeguard your genetic blueprint. Sleep is survival at the molecular scale. Sleep can help protect against Alzheimer's. During deep sleep, the brain clears beta amyloid, the protein that forms Alzheimer's plaques. Chronic poor sleep raises risk. Healthy sleep builds resilience. Sleep isn't just restoration, it's prevention. Night by night, the brain fights for itself, preserving the fragile threads of who you are. People who sleep poorly show faster brain aging. Brain scans reveal cortical thinning, reduced connectivity, and impaired white matter in chronic poor sleepers. Cognitive decline follows. The brain ages faster without its nightly reset, yet improvement is possible. Consistent, quality sleep can slow this decline. How you sleep today shapes how your brain ages tomorrow. Sleeping more than 9 hours regularly can be unhealthy. While sleep is essential, excessive sleep, 9-10+ hours nightly, is linked to higher risks of heart disease, depression, and metabolic issues. It may be a symptom of underlying illness rather than a cause, but it shows balance matters. The healthiest range for most adults is 7-9 hours. Sleep is like water, essential in the right amount, but a flood can drown. Some cultures see long sleep as laziness. Industrial societies often equate long sleep with idleness, tying success to relentless wakefulness. Proverbs warn against oversleeping. This view reflects cultural values more than biology. Long sleep is often necessary for recovery, growth, or illness. To call it laziness ignores its purpose. Rest isn't weakness, it's resilience. Sometimes, laziness is just biology underestimated. Some cultures see long sleep as luxury. In aristocratic pasts, sleeping late signaled wealth, the ability to rest while others worked. Today, sleep retreats and pillow menus frame rest as pampering. This view honors sleep as pleasure, but risks forgetting it's also necessity. Sleep isn't just for the fortunate, it's for everyone. Still, there's beauty in seeing rest as indulgence. Luxury sometimes lies not in having more, but in sleeping deeply without guilt. Napping is rising in modern workplaces. Once stigmatized, naps are now embraced in offices, hospitals, and cockpits. Research shows they boost productivity, creativity, and safety. Japan's Inemuri, sleeping while present, has long accepted workplace napping as dedication. In the West, attitudes are shifting. Nap pods appear in tech companies and banks. The workplace nap isn't rebellion, it's adaptation. Even in the digital age, sleep wins. Sleep remains one of science's greatest unsolved mysteries. For all we know, no single theory explains it all. It may serve many intertwine purposes: memory, emotion, repair, creativity, survival. Perhaps it's too vast to pin down. The unanswered questions make sleep profound. Each night, we surrender to something science can't fully map. Sleep isn't just necessity, it's wonder itself. And so we reach the end of our journey through the hidden world beneath the waves. From the immortal jellyfish drifting in silent cycles to the giant squids, dinner plate eyes staring into eternal darkness. From the anglerfish's glowing lure to the seahorse's patient curl, we've wandered through realms where sunlight dares not tread and life glows with its own quiet fire. What we've seen is not just strangeness, but strategy. Not just survival, but artistry. In the crushing pressure of the deep, in the icy silence of polar seas, in the sunlit shallows where coral pulses like a living heart, life persists, adapts, and astonishes. Think of the countless beings moving through this liquid world right now, the octopus tasting the reef with its arms, the mantis shrimp striking with the force of a bullet, the sea cucumber quietly rebuilding its insides after sacrifice, the blue whale singing across oceans so vast its voice becomes a map of presence. Each creature, in its own way, whispers the same truth, that life is not passive. It listens, it responds, it invents. And as you rest now, let that thought soften into your bones. You don't need to hold every fact. You don't need to remember every name or number. Just let the imagery drift like plankton in a gentle current, luminous, unhurried, endless. Imagine yourself floating just below the surface on a calm night. Above, stars shimmer. Below, the ocean darkens into mystery. Your body is weightless, your breath slow. And all around you, the sea breathes too, rising, falling, alive. There is something deeply comforting in knowing that this world continues, even when we are not watching. That hydrothermal vents still spew heat and chemicals into the abyss. That new islands still rise from the seafloor in silent eruptions. That creatures with transparent teeth and glowing mucus clouds still hunt in the black. The ocean does not wait for us. It simply is. Vast, ancient, patient. And in that patience, there is permission to rest, to release the day, to trust that the world will keep turning, the tides will keep moving, and life, strange, resilient, beautiful life, will keep finding a way. So as we close, I want to thank you for joining me on this quiet voyage into the heart of the deep sea. If this journey brought you a moment of peace, consider liking or subscribing. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, there is nothing more to do, just breathe. Let your thoughts drift like kelp in a current. Let your body sink into stillness. You are safe, you are held, and you are part of something far greater than yourself. A planet wrapped in blue, singing with life from its highest peaks to its deepest trenches. When you wake, the world will be waiting, but for now, the sea cradles you in its quiet embrace. Now let us linger a little longer in this liquid dreamscape. Consider the leaf sheep sea slug, no bigger than your thumbnail, that looks like a cartoon sheep with leafy appendages and black eyes. It lives among seaweed in the Indo-Pacific, feeding on algae, and not just eating it, but stealing its chloroplasts. These tiny green factories, once part of the algae, continue to photosynthesize inside the slug's body, turning sunlight into energy. The slug glows with soft, living green light, a creature that is part animal, part plant, part dream. It reminds us that even in biology, there is room for whimsy, for joy, for life that refuses to fit into neat categories. Or think of the pistol shrimp, barely an inch long, that snaps its claw so fast it creates a bubble hotter than the surface of the sun. For a split second, it generates light and sound louder than a jet engine, all from a creature small enough to fit on your fingertip. This is not brute force, but precision. Evolution's answer to the question, how do you survive when you're tiny in a world of giants, with speed, with stealth, with a single perfect strike? And what of the hagfish, ancient and jawless, that defends itself not with teeth or venom, but with slime? A single hagfish can turn a bucket of seawater into gelatinous goo in seconds. This slime clogs the gills of predators, forcing them to retreat. Then the hagfish ties itself in a knot and slides the knot down its body to wipe itself clean. A self-cleaning mechanism born of 300 million years of ocean survival. Ugly to some, perhaps, but essential. A recycler of the deep, feeding on carcasses that fall from above, turning death into life. Even the blobfish, often mocked as the world's ugliest animal, is a masterpiece of adaptation. In the crushing pressure of the deep ocean, its gelatinous body is perfectly buoyant, no swim bladder needed. It floats just above the seafloor, conserving energy in a world where every calorie counts. Only when brought to the surface does it melt into the saggy caricature we know. In its true home, it is streamlined, quiet, graceful. A reminder that beauty is not universal. It is shaped by context, by pressure, by place. And then there are the anglerfish, whose love is as strange as their light. In the abyssal dark, finding a mate is nearly impossible. So the male, tiny and fragile, bites into the female's flesh and fuses with her, his organs dissolving, his bloodstream merging with hers. He becomes a permanent sperm source, nourished by her body for life. What begins as a desperate search ends in total unity. Two lives become one, lit by a single glowing lure in an endless night. It is not romance as we know it, but it is devotion written in biology. All of these creatures, from the electric eel that commands lightning to the parrotfish that sleeps in a mucus cocoon, are part of a single, interconnected story. The ocean is not a collection of oddities. It is a living system, responsive, resilient, and endlessly inventive. Every adaptation, every survival trick, every moment of bioluminescent wonder is a testament to life's refusal to be extinguished. And you too are part of this story. Your body is mostly water. Your blood carries salt like the sea. Your cells pulse with rhythms as old as the tides. Scientists believe life began not in sunlight, but in the dark, near hydrothermal vents, where heat and chemistry sparked the first fragile threads of biology. In that sense, every human is an echo of the deep, a surface dweller carrying the memory of the abyss within. So as you sleep tonight, know that you are not separate from this world. You are woven into it. The same forces that shape coral reefs and guide whale migrations also shape your breath, your heartbeat, your dreams. The ocean does not hurry, it does not panic, it simply moves slowly, rhythmically, eternally. And in its patience, it teaches us how to rest. Let your mind soften like sand beneath a gentle wave. Let your thoughts dissolve like plankton in moonlight. There is no need to hold on, no need to remember, just drift. Below you, the seafloor stretches into darkness, dotted with vents that breathe minerals into the water. Above, the surface shimmers with starlight, and all around, life glows, soft, silent, eternal. This is the quiet truth of the deep, that even in total darkness, life finds a way to shine. And if by chance you are still awake, you might choose to watch another video when you're ready. But if sleep has already wrapped you in its quiet arms, then let it carry you deeper, past the waves, past the light, into the calm heart of the sea itself. May your dreams be as vast as the ocean. May your rest be as deep as the trenches. May you wake renewed, as though the tides themselves had washed your mind clean. Now imagine the giant isopod, a creature that looks like a pill bug from another world, crawling across the ocean floor in total darkness. It can grow over a foot long, its armored shell gleaming pale lavender in the black. It is a scavenger, feeding on the remains of whales and fish that fall from above. In this frozen desert, meals are rare, so it gorges when it finds one, storing fat for years. Its eyes are huge and reflective, capturing the faintest glimmer of bioluminescence. Though it looks prehistoric, it is perfectly modern, a survivor of the deep's quiet, crushing pressure. It is the sea's reminder that even the most alien forms are echoes of home. Consider the barrel-eye fish, with its transparent head and glowing green eyes that can rotate inside its skull. It floats motionless in the twilight zone, watching for prey silhouetted against the faint light above. Its transparent dome protects its sensitive eyes from the stinging tentacles of jellyfish, its favorite food. It is a living window through which the ocean seems to gaze back at itself, a creature both fragile and formidable, designed for a world where light is scarce and danger is constant. And what of the eel, which is born in the Sargasso Sea and drifts on ocean currents for years before reaching rivers in Europe or North America? When it's time to spawn, it returns to that same deep-sea cradle, navigating thousands of miles through featureless water. No one has ever seen an eel spawn in the wild. For centuries, its reproduction was a complete mystery. Even now, its exact path remains partly unknown. The eel's life is a cycle of transformation and mystery, a migration across time and ocean, ending where it began in the quiet cradle of the deep. It is a story written in patience, instinct, and the unbroken thread of return. Think of the Nautilus, a living fossil that has changed little in 500 million years. It drifts through tropical seas in a beautiful spiral shell, adjusting its buoyancy with gas-filled chambers. It is a creature of slow grace, unaffected by the rapid changes of the modern ocean. In its quiet persistence, it reminds us that not all evolution is about speed or complexity. Sometimes, the most successful strategy is simply to endure, to float through time with quiet dignity, unchanged and unshaken. Even the coral polyp, no bigger than a grain of rice, is a builder of empires. Each secretes limestone beneath it, layer upon layer, forming reefs that can stretch for hundreds of miles. Over centuries, these colonies rise from the seafloor like slow-moving cities. Home to a quarter of all marine species, the polyp hosts microscopic algae that convert sunlight into energy, creating a delicate partnership between animal and plant. At night, corals feed by extending their tentacles to capture drifting plankton, glowing faintly with bioluminescent hues. Each reef is a living archive of time, recording changes in temperature and current in its stony growth. Coral is proof that even the smallest creatures, working together across ages, can build monuments lasting enough to reshape the earth. And then there are the sea angels, tiny winged mollusks that drift like living glass in the cold, clear waters near the poles. Their bodies are translucent and ethereal, their wings beating with rhythmic grace as they flutter through icy water. Despite their delicate appearance, sea angels are hunters, feeding on equally fragile prey called sea butterflies. Their transparent forms make them nearly invisible, a shimmer of motion in an endless blue. When sunlight filters through the ice, they glow with faint inner colors like spirits suspended in the sea. Scientists study them as examples of extreme adaptation, creatures built for beauty and survival in the most delicate balance. Watching a sea angel drift is like watching a dream pass through light, unhurried, weightless, eternal. Some fish have 4 eyes to see above and below water. The four-eyed fish spends its life near the surface where water meets air. Each of its 2 eyes is split horizontally into separate parts, the upper half adapted for vision in air, the lower for vision underwater. With this dual perspective, the fish can watch for predators above while spotting prey below, living quite literally between 2 worlds. Its unique lenses bend light differently in each environment, allowing perfect focus in both. Schools of these fish skim the surface of tropical estuaries, their eyes glinting like jewels, forever balancing between realms. Evolution has sculpted them into living bridges between air and sea, proving that nature's imagination is boundless. In the deep, some squid shoot themselves out of the water like rockets. When threatened or hunting, they jet through the water by expelling streams from their siphons. But sometimes they take it further. By aiming their jets downward, they can launch themselves into the air, gliding dozens of feet above the surface. Their fins spread like wings, and water droplets trail behind them in glittering arcs. High-speed cameras have shown that they even flap their fins mid-air, controlling their flight path like birds. Scientists believe this behavior saves energy when escaping predators or moving quickly across open seas. To witness, one is to glimpse the ocean dreaming of flight. A creature evolved for water, tasting the freedom of sky. In that fleeting glide, the line between the 2 worlds vanishes, and the sea itself seems to rise, suspended between waves and wind. Dolphins blow bubble rings for play. Not all intelligence exists for survival. Some exist simply to create joy. Dolphins are known to form perfect shimmering rings of air underwater, spinning halos that drift upward like silver circles of light. They nudge these bubbles with their snouts, spurt them into smaller ones, or swim gracefully through them. Young dolphins learn the technique from older ones, turning it into a social game passed through generations. There's no reward beyond fascination, the beauty of motion, and the pleasure of control. Scientists believe this behavior demonstrates creativity, curiosity, and a sense of wonder rare in the animal world. Beneath the waves, These creatures create art from breath itself, sculpting play into poetry. Their laughter-like clicks echo softly through the blue, reminding us that joy, too, is part of intelligence. Some fish survive freezing solid and thawing alive. In Arctic lakes and polar seas, certain fish endure winters so cold that their bodies freeze solid. Their hearts stop. Their blood turns to slush. Yet they do not die. Inside them, special proteins and sugars protect cells from ice damage, holding life in suspended animation. When spring returns and the water warms, these fish thaw slowly, heartbeat resuming as though nothing happened. It's a cycle of deathless sleep, nature's own version of cryogenic preservation. Scientists study these creatures to understand how life can pause and resume, hoping to apply their secrets to medicine and space travel. Beneath the ice, the fish drift in perfect stillness, waiting patiently for the world to wake. In their silence lies the ultimate resilience, the power to freeze, rest, and live again. The giant clam's flesh glows from algae living inside it. On the coral reefs of the Pacific, giant clams rest like living jewels. Their massive shells open wide to reveal rippling mantles that shimmer with blue, green, and gold light. This radiance comes from millions of microscopic algae living inside the clam's flesh. The algae use sunlight to photosynthesize, providing nutrients for their host, while the clam shelters them in return, a partnership of light and life. Special iridescent cells scatter sunlight deep into the tissue, ensuring that even dim rays reach the algae below. Some giant clams can live for over a century, growing larger than bathtubs, their luminous mantles glowing like stained glass beneath the waves. They are living windows into cooperation itself, two beings merged into one, thriving together in the warm hush of the sea. The frilled shark is called a living fossil. The frilled shark drifts through the depth like a memory of prehistory. With its long serpentine body and rows of needle-like teeth, it looks more dragon than fish. This species has remained virtually unchanged for more than 80 million years, surviving mass extinctions and shifting continents. Its gills are aligned with frilly edges, the feature that gives it its name, and its slow, graceful movements make it seem as if it's swimming through time itself. Living deep below sunlight, the frilled shark hunts squid and fish with lightning-fast lunges. Its jaw can extend suddenly forward, snaring prey with a trap of recurved teeth that prevent escape. It's a design so perfect that evolution never needed to alter it. Watching this ancient creature glide through modern oceans is like seeing the past still breathing, unhurried and eternal. Some deep-sea fish use lures that dangle from their heads. In the black depths of the abyss, where sunlight has never reached, predators have turned light itself into a weapon. Many deep-sea fish, such as the anglerfish, grow fleshy extensions from their heads tipped with glowing lures. These lights, powered by symbiotic bacteria, pulse softly like stars in the void. Curious prey approach, drawn by the glow, and in that instant the predator strikes. The light vanishes, replaced by teeth as thin as glass and twice as sharp. In this world, illumination means deception. Beauty hides hunger, Some species can even control their light, bending, dimming, or flashing it like a living lantern. To human eyes, the scene seems ghostly, constellations adrift in darkness, each a mouth waiting to open. In the deep sea, even the smallest spark is power. Rays have spiracles to breathe while buried in sand. Beneath the sandy floors of warm lagoons, stingrays rest invisibly, covered in a fine dusting of sediment. Yet even buried, they breathe thanks to small openings behind their eyes called spiracles. Instead of drawing in water through their mouths, which would fill with sand, they pull clean water through these hidden gills and pass it over their respiratory organs. This simple design lets them remain still for hours, conserving energy and staying hidden from predators. The only sign of their presence is the slow rise and fall of sand as they breathe. When startled, they burst upward in a graceful swirl of sediment, their diamond-shaped bodies slicing effortlessly through the water. The spiracle is a quiet marvel of adaptation, allowing stillness itself to become survival, the art of vanishing into the world's softest element. Sharks replace their teeth thousands of times in a lifetime. A shark's mouth is a revolving factory of blades. Inside its gums, multiple rows of replacement teeth are constantly growing, moving forward like a conveyor belt. When one tooth breaks or falls out, another slides into place within days. Some sharks may lose and replace more than 20,000 teeth over a lifetime. Each tooth is perfectly shaped for its task, triangular and serrated for cutting, needle-like for gripping slippery prey. This endless renewal ensures the shark is always armed for survival, an ancient design honed over 400 million years. Yet for all their reputation as hunters, sharks are also keepers of balance, pruning the weak and maintaining healthy ecosystems. Their teeth, scattered across the seafloor, fossilize easily, tiny echoes of an evolutionary masterpiece that has outlasted empires, extinctions, and time itself. Some sea stars can eject their stomachs to eat prey. Sea stars feed in a way that seems almost impossible. When they find a mussel or clam, they pry it open slightly with their tube feet, then push their stomachs out through their mouths, inserting them between the shells. Digestive enzymes dissolve the prey right where it lies. When the meal is over, the stomach retracts neatly back inside. This bizarre process allows sea stars to eat prey much larger than their mouths. Some species can even regenerate lost arms or parts of their bodies, rebuilding themselves from fragments. They move slowly, but their patience is deceptive, every motion deliberate, every action efficient. In tide pools and coral reefs, sea stars are both gentle and formidable, proof that the quietest creatures often wield the most astonishing powers. Dolphins herd fish into tight bait balls to hunt. In the open sea, dolphins turn hunting into choreography. Working in teams, they circle schools of fish, driving them together into tight, swirling masses called bait balls. Some dolphins dive deep, pushing the school upward, while others leap and slap the surface, disorienting the fish with sound and motion. Once the ball is formed, they take turns darting through it, snapping up prey in coordinated bursts. Seabirds dive from above, joining the frenzy in an explosion of movement and light. The level of communication and teamwork is extraordinary, a display of intelligence and strategy that rivals any human hunt. When the feast ends, the sea quiets and the dolphins drift apart again, their sleek shapes gliding in calm formation. What remains is not chaos, but choreography, a dance of minds that think and move as one. Some squid shoot glowing ink instead of dark ink. In the twilight depths, where sunlight fades, some squids defend themselves not with darkness, but with light. When threatened, they release a cloud of bioluminescent mucus that glows a ghostly blue-green. This luminous ink confuses predators, acting as both distraction and decoy. To creatures of the deep, it must look like a burst of stars suddenly appearing, then vanishing into black. The squid, meanwhile, disappears in the opposite direction, leaving only the glow behind. This defense, rare and hauntingly beautiful, transforms escape into spectacle. Scientists believe it evolved as a countermeasure against predators that hunt by light, turning visibility into invisibility. Even in danger, the ocean finds a way to make beauty, a flash of brilliance that fades into stillness like a dream dissolving back into night. And now, as the tides settle and the last ripples fade, the ocean grows still again. All around us, the world beneath the waves continues its quiet work. The soft pulse of coral breathing, the slow glide of manta rays through moonlit water, the drifting glow of plankton like tiny stars in motion. Every creature, from the smallest shrimp to the largest whale, moves in rhythm with the same ancient song. A lullaby older than mountains, steady as a heartbeat. You wandered tonight through coral cities and frozen seas, through realms of color and silence and bioluminescent light. You've seen lives that bloom without sunlight, voices that travel through water and worlds built from patience and adaptation. And even now, as you rest, that hidden ocean continues, vast, calm, and alive, rolling endlessly beneath the surface of the earth. There's something deeply comforting about that thought, that while we sleep, the sea keeps its quiet vigil, timeless, tireless, full of life that neither hurries nor waits. It reminds us that the world is larger than we can ever see and more intricate than we can ever measure. That beneath every wave lies another mystery, another story waiting to be discovered when morning comes. So as you close your eyes, imagine yourself adrift in that tranquil blue. No weight, no sound, only the soft rhythm of waves moving around you. Above, the light fades to silver. Below, darkness glows with faint living sparks. The water carries you gently without direction, without demand, a cradle of motion, ancient and infinite. Breathe slowly like the tide returning to shore. Let your thoughts drift like sand beneath the waves, reshaped by every exhale. The ocean is still here, endless, patient, and kind. And if you happen to still be awake, you can go ahead and watch the next video when you're ready. But if sleep has already found you, then let it carry you deeper, past the waves, past the light, into the calm heart of the sea itself. May your dreams tonight move with the rhythm of the water. May they carry you gently to the quiet places where wonder never ends. Good night.